Hello and welcome to Sharing the Light, and I'm Reverend Robert Griffin. Sharing the Light is an online ministry of the Sunshine Cathedral located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. In our segment today, Reverend Durrell Watkins, who is the senior pastor of the Sunshine Cathedral, will be speaking to us on the topic of, is Christmas relevant to 21st century? And how is it relevant to us in the 21st century? So let's dive right in once again to our topic of discussion.
Is Christmas relevant in the 21st century? I think retailers certainly find it to be relevant, and I think families obviously find it to be relevant. I mean, that's one of the primary times of the year that people get together, they get off work, and so I mean, there's certainly lots of wonderful ways that it can be relevant, regardless of what people believe. I assume that the basis of the question is, though, because we live in a pluralistic society, where even agnosticism and atheism is more known than it used to be. I think in the latest Pew report, people who are unidentified or unaffiliated with any religion is the highest growing percentage of Americans. That in that kind of environment, is this religious holiday still relevant? So, assuming that's where the question's coming from, I'll approach it from that angle. I think that what comes to mind is that wonderful old newspaper article, Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus. That's what always comes to mind, where regardless of if there was or is some gift-bearing elf, flying around, that what Santa represents is very, very important. Generosity, peace, goodwill, kindness, family, love, that those kinds of things that Santa embodies are very real and very necessary. And so I think that message continues to be true, that yes, Virginia, Christmas is relevant in the 21st century. And for Christians, obviously, and there are other religions that have other times where they celebrate the light, where they celebrate newness, where they celebrate the birth of possibilities and hope and all that sort of thing. So I think to ritually celebrate the best of human potential and our fondest aspirations and dreams, I think that's very important and very relevant. Christmas, in the strictest sense, is about the birth of a particular baby. And so how do we view that baby? If that's one baby in one context, and if that's not our context, maybe it doesn't seem relevant. But if that baby represents the sacred value of all babies that then grow up to be all adults, if that baby represents the fact that we are all children of divine love, then that story really becomes our story, and the celebration of it becomes our celebration of our possibilities and our shared future that we all have. So I think in that respect we can all agree that it can be relevant anyway, that it is useful.
Well, that kind of digs into another question for me, is that within our context, within the GLBT community, the queer community, that our relationships are so uniquely defined, much broader these days. Growing up was mom and dad and the kids, and today it's same gender-loving people. So how is it that Christmas is relevant for 21st century GLBT people, given where we are in our history today?
Well, I can think of three ways right off the bat. The first thing is if a gay or lesbian person or transgender person comes out to their family, and their family is very supportive and welcoming. What a healing and beautiful moment that is. And so Christmas must be very special to the gay person who brings his or her partner home for the holidays, and it's just an expansion of the family. I mean, how wonderful to see that level of unconditional love and acceptance. So there's that. What about the GLBT people who haven't had that experience? Well, they have the opportunity to form families of choice. Their partner, their friends, maybe their adopted children, their churches or synagogues. And so they get to, during the holidays, come together with their families of choice. And so get to say that family is so important to us, we can create it anyway. Even if our families of origins have rejected us, we still value it, we still need it, and we're still going to have it. I mean, talk about family values. And so the holidays bring us together in that way with our families of choice. The third way that I think it is important for GLBT people is the story itself. When I look at the Christmas narrative, when I look at the story of the Nativity, and it's only found, of course, in Matthew and in Luke in the New Testament, in the early parts of those, that these stories are stories about people who had been on the margins of society, who had been rejected, who had been oppressed. And these are the people, and Luke, shepherds, low on the totem pole of society, low on the social stratification pyramid, that these shepherds living outside, working outside with animals, these poor laborers, that these people are the people that angels come to announce good news. Mary, an unwed mother, she is the one who has this amazing child. And so Elizabeth, old, past her prime, and devalued because she hasn't had a family of her own, and she gets good news too, and she gets to have a family. That all of these people who had been rejected, like gay and lesbian people have been rejected, it's their story. And Luke, and then the same thing in Matthew, where in Matthew, these magi, people from another culture, another country, another religion, just as they are, follow this traveling star that's probably not good astronomy, but it is good theology, because it's these others who find divine love just as they are.
And you're saying that just brought to mind quickly, like all those people you just named are people who are on the margins. Mary, Elizabeth, the Magi from another country, relates to immigration issues.
Of course.
There's lots of theological and ethical implications in that little story that right there that we have to unpack somehow.
And in Matthew's genealogy of Jesus, look at the people he includes.
Right.
Now, whether or not this is a true genealogy or not, but Matthew chooses to include in the genealogy of Jesus people like Rahab the harlot, Tamar, who played the harlot, just so that she could have a family, by the way. Bathsheba, who was the mother of Solomon through an adulterous union with David. Ruth the Moabite, a pagan Moabite from another culture, another country, another religion. And then Mary, this unwed mother. That these women, who first of all, being women, weren't highly regarded in their patriarchal culture, but then also had been the other. They had been marginalized for other reasons, because of religion or ethnicity, or because they had been sexualized and judged because of that. That these people are part of the genealogy of the story, of the person the story is about. That this child of God is a descendant of all kinds of people, and he represents good news for all kinds of people. So the gay person who gets to go home, how beautiful. The gay person who can't go home gets to make his or her own home and create his or her own family. How beautiful. And in either case, the Christmas story is a story about marginalized people, and it's marginalized people for whom and to whom and through whom the good news comes.
Let me see if we can get this done quickly. Here we are a month after Amendment number 2 in Florida, Proposition number 8 in California, and the Las Vegas thing. It's about legislation of love. In this season of love, what is the opportunity to express love for the GLBT person?
Well, it's about claiming it. I think that's the wonderful thing about these Christmas narratives that we have in our scriptures. I mean, remember, it was Caesar who was a divine child. It was Caesar who had a miraculous birth. It was Caesar who was called Lord. It was Caesar who, as emperor, was the king of all kings. It was Caesar who oversaw the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. He was the sovereign of peace. Caesar had all of these exalted divine titles, and here people who are sort of marginalized by Caesar's system are calling themselves special, holy, that they have good news. News about Caesar was the good news. These people are saying the story of Jesus is good news.
Wow.
And so these people, marginalized people, are claiming a story that other people said was just theirs, and they're making it theirs. They're putting themselves into the story. So I think that what gay and lesbian people can do in that same vein is take the story of religion, the story of God's love, and make it be our story. Insert ourselves into the story. Insist that it is our story. That's what the early Christians did. Now, 2,000 years later, sometimes Christians are the ones trying to do the excluding, the keeping people at bay. But we can do what the first Christians did and say, we insist that this story is our story, that it is good news for us, and we can live in the power of that hope and that love, which I think is what this season is trying to communicate to everyone.
Wonderful. I want to thank you for joining us here on Sharing the Light. Feel free to visit us at our website at www.sunshinecathedral.org. If you have questions, please write to me at robert@sunshinecathedral.org. And now for our final word from Pastor Watkins.
We invite you to join us for services every Sunday at 9 and 10:30 here at the Sunshine Cathedral at 1480 Southwest 9th Avenue in Fort Lauderdale. Also remember, we have Christmas Eve services on December 24th, 3 services that evening. You can check us out on the website to find those times. And if you're out of town for any reason, those services, like all of our Sunday services, will be broadcast on the internet. You can watch them there too. And so we wish you many holiday blessings and a Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining us here on Sharing the Light.